jump across, and I come here and wedge up front, jump, down, jump front, you can actually hit front side to side. Jump, down, jump front, jump. So you're actually going to make contact with the front side hip. The hardest part is not to slip off with the jump because there's no, nothing to stop you like with a human. There's no natural hand hook that occurs, so you have to kind of stop your hand. Or slide off, it doesn't matter, you won't get marked off. If you slide off, you won't get marked off. Okay, so start position. Towards the door. Towards the door. So we pivot jump, and then jump front, and then back to jump. Pivot jump, jump front, back to jump. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 7. 1, 2, 8. Next. So you're going to jump it. You're trying to come. Start with the pivot towards the door. Okay, so pivot jump. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 7, 1, 2, 7. When I do this bong, what I like to do personally, I do my bong over here. Now, normally, yes, in the dummy form, we do the bong across like that. And normally in the dummy form, we actually pass a little bit further with bong than we would usually do in a real situation. Because the contact point is way the fuck over here. It's usually on the center line, right? But normally in the form. Now, the thing is in the form, a lot of times, well, always, after we do a bong, we either do a time, or we do a pop, or we do a jigsaw, but it's always followed, never in the form do we go 1, 2, 3, and then we don't have that. So the issue, if you do what we're going to do with the bong find out, if you do it here, you're going to find yourself snapping your elbow into the dummy and do the find out. Or else you'll have to do the find incorrectly. Because if you don't want to hit your elbow, you're going to have to go like that and do the find out differently than you do in combat. So for that reason, I chose to put the bong here, and then what's nice about it is I can chamber like normal and have this. So when I do back to bong again. So yes, now I'm a little bit to this side of where bong would normally be, but it's really in structure no greater a sin than this is, because neither one of them is really right. The only way it would really be right is if I did it here. Then that would actually be the technically correct.
You shouldn't be fighting me today.
Right. If he's that low, just selfies. It might be a really big black guy. In jail. Okay? So, you guys know what I mean? Yeah. That really, technically, when we do the cross bong in the normal form, it's kind of a little bit wrong. But we make that, you're at that level where it doesn't matter. I understand what I'm doing. Okay? So, I don't want you to hit your elbows, because that's what will happen. Alright, so we're going to go bong, okay? So we start in position, we pivot bong. Relax back, find out. Back to bong. Pivot bong, relax back, stop right there for 1 second. Now why do you hit this and not hit this? Because you guys always tell me if you have this, you don't need that. You know how I always hate it when the JKD guys go like this, they do their tongue out like this? I fucking hate it. Because they think it looks cool, but they don't understand. If you have this, you don't need this. And if you have this, you don't need that. You should just hit him with all your power. This will just get blocked by his shoulder. You know what I mean? It's stupid. It's stupid. So, when you do this, you would say to me, well then why am I touching here? Because it's stupid. Because if I have this, I don't need, if I have this, I don't need this. But what happens when you're on the dummy, again, you kind of sometimes make adjustments to your structure, do things that aren't really exactly perfect in reality. Why? Because in this case, you don't want to punch the wood with your fist. So when you do that, what happens is you get the same impact coming back to you than if you hit something.
Power effect.
Yeah, it's the same effect because the impact on your arm will still send back the same resistance. You know, like you'll get the slide hammer kind of effect that you would have gotten had you punched. But they don't want you to hit it because it's bad for your hand. So you can absorb it here. And it can TQ cell, develop your TQ cell at the same time. But really it's so you get that power training of hitting something without actually bashing up your hand. And that's why. Okay. So, anyways, back, did you guys already go? Not yet. Okay, starting position. So we go. Bong, find out, bong, bong, find out, bong. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 7. 1, 2, 8. Next. Starting position. And we pivot ball. Okay. Starting position. Pivot ball. Front brace in. Front brace out. Pivot. Front brace in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 8. Brace 7. 1, 2, 6. Get back. Pivot. Front brace. Front brace. Pivot. Front brace. Front brace. 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 7. 1, 2, next. Starting position, take the door. Which is going to be ball. Kick. 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 So pivot ball. Find another kick. And go. Ball. Another kick. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 8. You got a shot. This one hits. Back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Sorry. Fook. Move that Chun. You have to hit it. Back to foot. Back to foot. Move that Chun. Back to foot. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 7. 1, 2, 8. Nice. So you get that nice slap going. And that, you know what I like about this is it kind of removes that tendency that people always seem to have of challenge like this. That challenge. That's what you want to hit somebody with, to fuck them up if you hit them like that. Give them an else. Don't ever do that again, Grandma. Alright, so we foot, face up, foot, face up, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Slap the shit out of that motherfucker. Foot, go in, back out. Foot, go in, back out. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 7. 1, 2, 8. Next. 7. start over again if I hear you hit over my voice. It's not because I care to hear my voice, it's because I want to see how precise you can make your time go. And now we have to add the kick in there. So we're going to go foot, kick, foot, kick, foot. The next thing about the kick is it equalizes the hit. So you don't break the dump, and when you kick it, the dummy won't fly back so far. Alright? Starting position, so we make the fook. Do the kick. Do the foot. Kick. 1, 2, 1. That's the kind of control I like. You went and you did your triangle step and you came into the time and the punch corresponded with the rear leg. Now, of course, you learned how to do with pivoting and with other footwork, but in its most basic form, the punch corresponded with the rear leg. That's the way I want to see it in the test. I know there's other ways, but that's the way I want it. Now, you notice that the hand that Tom is trapping, the hand that finished punching, it's more important, I think, than taking over on the same hand, is the idea that the finished hand traps. You know, the hand opens after the strike for 4 reasons, one of them being to retrap. So I think that's the most important element of the cycle. So when I transferred it to the dummy, I thought to myself, well, I could do it 2 ways, I guess. I could trap the other arm, you know, or I could trap the arm that the time is. And so that was the most important, that was my decision-making process when I put this onto the dummy. And I said, well, let me trap the hand that's already in position for the time, because it feels more realistic that way. So when I come over to the dummy, it transfers over. I come over and I do the time punch. Then I take over the trap on the hand that Tom was touching, and I do my Chun. And I turn my shoulders as much as I can, you know, get as much as I can. Then I slide down, and I do my Lop Fun, and I turn my shoulders as much as I can. I'd like to keep turning if I could, but I can't, so that's as much as I can express. And then we know that the last one to hit is always the first one to block. So we drop through, and we reapproach. Then the punching hand takes over for the on hand. I turn as much as I can, and I grab chop. And the last one to hit is the first one to block. So I'll come in, now 1, 2, 1. Switch. 2. You don't have to go fast because they're slow attacks. 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be mainly having on your hip. And I got to grab a little bit. Yes, that's fine. So now when we go to do the slow attack, we're going to have to switch over, and so our right hand is going to have to be the time. So we triangle step right, timed out. Now we take over to the time hand and turn as much as we can. So you know most of your turning is going to happen in the hips. So if anything, I'm looking at, you know, get as much of this as you can get, and you can't get much, unfortunately. Get as much as you can. And then you come back the same way. Alright, now the last one to hit is the first one to block. So you triangle step when you approach. Coming from an angle. Take over track. Feels a little bit awkward compared to the real thing, but it's better than nothing. And then grab chop. Last one to hit is the first one to block. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 10. 1, 2, 3, 11. 1, 2, 3, 12. 1, 2, 3, 13. 1, 2, 3, 14. 1, 2, 3, 15. 1, 2, 3, 16. 1, 2, 3, 17. 1, 2, 3, 18. 1, 2, 3, 19. 1, 2, 3, 20. 1, 2, 3, 21. 1, 2, 3, 22. 1, 2, 3, 23. 1, 2, 3, 24. 1, 2, 3, 25. 1, 2, 3, 26. 1, 2, 3, 27. 1, 2, 3, 28. 1, 2, 3, 29. 1, 2, 3, 30. 1, 2, 3, 34. 1, 2, 3, 35. 1, 2, 3, 36. 1, 2, 3, 37. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, position. It's time. I'm starting with the lead. I'm going to triangle step, time with a kick. I'm going to put down here and then lock. So a triangle step, tie down, kick. Sorry, kick. And then I'm going to put down this and grab chop. So it's time to put down, grab chop. Time, put down, grab chop. Time, put down, grab chop. Time, put down, grab chop. The worst mistake you'll make is sometimes people hang in the air. It doesn't do you any good. It just leaves you vulnerable for a longer period. So, and you lose the descending momentum on second syllable. So, no use to stay hanging in the air. Okay? I think Randy Williams did that a lot.
At least once.
Left himself hanging in the air a lot. All right? Too soon?
Not at all.
All right. So, what are we doing? Another game. All right. So triangle step. Find out the kick. Don't be like Randy Williams. Put down. And then grab chop. Triangle step. Find out the kick. Put down. Grab chop. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 2, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 9, 1, 2, 3, 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 2, 3, 8, 1, 2, 3, 9, 1, 2, 3. Let's do 20 on that one. So left lead, your arms getting in the way. So it's pock punch. Now, the punching hand becomes the grabbing hand. Now in this case, it grabs the same hand that I'm already on. But in the dummy it won't. But the important thing here that I'm trying to simulate is the finished punch hand opens and ends up trapping. And it's the same kind of suspension of disbelief. When you hit the dummy, it's like when you watch a vampire movie. They call it suspension of disbelief in English. It means for 2 hours you pretend you believe in vampires and you enjoy the movie. No, there's no vampire.
Otherwise you wouldn't.
You wouldn't have no fun. You'd be just sitting there going, nah, that's fake, that's fake. So, with the dummy, you kind of have a little suspension of disbelief going on. Anyway, so the hand that's done opens, and it makes you believe that the hand that was over here was really successful in pushing this over. But what happens is you're simulating part of the squat before it finishes. So you stop and your squat gets arrested in your punch. And that's why my punch goes the other arm. Because I wanted some contact there. So I bash into something. Okay, so then I'm going to grab the arm, retrap, and then retrap again. And of course the last, what's this one? So the last one to hit is always the first one to block. And so it has to do that little squat pop. I think we had that in the seminar. Something happened where we needed that squat pop. I don't remember what. But you know what I mean. There's occasions when so you need a squat pop sometimes. So you're going to do that, open, grab hit, and grab hit, so I reach up, and you would slow down. So it's triangle here, lop fun, retrap chop. Triangle step, punch, lop fun, retrap chop. So on the dummy, the way I do it is that I triangle step, swap punch. Okay, this is the way I want to see it done. It's a normal pop. Because if I did it the other way, I'd have to change to a low box. So this is closer to the real structure. Okay? This also has a tendency, another reason you might ask me, well, how come you have forearm contact there when we don't hit the guy in real life in the training? You know what I like? You've all taught beginners this. The most common mistake beginners make at the box slow attack? What's the most common mistake they make?
They do it like tanda. They don't cross the hands.
Yes. And oftentimes they end up turning against their punch. You know, they end up giving the pop all the energy and they end up turning against the punch. Well, I put this in on purpose because it encourages a forward punch. You know, it gives you something like a cat to scratch his claws. It gives you something to scratch your punch on, so it encourages a forward energy in your punch when the real one has a tendency sometimes to encourage a wrong punch. So that's why I did it. Okay, then the punching hand opens and traps this arm because it more closely approximates the angle that I would do using a lock fun. And then, of course, I reach out the hand I'm already grabbing and chop. Last one is the first one's blocked so it drops through and then swap out. Lock fun on the same arm, lay over, trap, chop. Last one is the first one to block, swap out, lock, trap. Triangle, lock, lock, trap. I like this because it forces me to really give the forward energy punch that the empty, not empty hand, but the not real punch one. You always see beginners do this. See if I can do it. Right now, I'm going to do that. And they go like this. Like that. And they give it to the top. So this is where you have to, you're supposed to at that point learn how to distribute your energy correctly. This really forces you to do it. Okay? Let's try it. If you're going like, I want it to feel almost hitting. Okay, I guess we have to add a kick. So the way I would add the kick when I'm empty-handed is I would go. The kick is on the side of the punch. So that means here I'm going to go like this. Swat, punch, kick. Grab, chop, and trap. Swat, punch, kick. Grab, chop, and trap. Swat, punch, kick. Grab, and trap. The enemy still uses the normal triangle, but I use the female triangle. Grab, chop, retrap. So I step back to Charlie and come out, 2, 3. Step back to Charlie and 2, 3. So in between, and I'm back to Charlie. Come back, boom, lock, retrap. So on this one, I'm going to the outside arm so it encourages a bigger female triangle to step out of. So what you're going to do, this from the left lead, is you're going to come back and you're going to go Bong out here, lock to the forearm, retrap. The last one we hit is the first one block. So you step back to Charlie, Bong, lock, retrap. Back, Bong, lock, retrap. Back, Bong, lock, retrap. Back, Bong, lock, retrap. So you go like this. Bong side, grab, retrap. Bong side, grab, retrap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you can substitute the kick here. Or you can substitute it here if you want. Put it on the second syllable. So in keeping with normal, we'll just do it on the first syllable. But you can do it on the second.
And if we do on the first, we then do a one yuk.
Yeah, second.
And if we do on the second, we do a chin yuk.
Yeah, you have to because of the body structure.
Yeah.
So let's say we're going to do it that way. We'll go triangle step and we'll go one side kick, grab, chop, retrap, come back, one side, grab, chop, retrap, one side, grab, chop, retrap, one side, grab, chop, retrap. So on this one, I kind of have to kick a stopping side kick right there. It'll feel a little bit funny because of the way the two are not exactly on the same center line, but we can do it because it's slow down. You don't have to go super fast. So from the left side feel, bang, and then one down. Udon Chun, Jing Jam, one down. Udon Chun, Jing, one. But remember how you have the one hand that does that one. So you're going to have to do that here. So you're going to come in and you're going to do the Udon Chun, actual contact. And this one's easy. You can your on that chuck. I like to do it up close, just like I do in reality. The last one you get is always the first one to block. So you're trying to step out, do that chunk. J jam, and then choke kick. Triangle, 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 triangle. Okay? That right hand is going to be the first hit. So we triangle step, move that Chun. And you let that arm completely straight. Okay? Because there's nothing stopping it, so it should straighten. Then we're going to change in, completely straight, and your dummy should be sprung back. Then you pull him into the line that choke. And stay high on the arm with your line. I don't want the line to come too far down the arm. I want it pretty far up there. Okay? Then the last one to hit is the first one's block, so we triangle step, move that arm. And straighten that arm. Yep. Then line, or rather change in, and then line that choke. Okay. Last one to hit is the first one's block, move that choke. Then change in, and then line that choke. And that's what I like. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, here to me. It doesn't feel the same side hip kick, which you guys know I don't like. And it's hard to use the front leg because you can't switch sides there. And you have to, I just don't like to kick on the first syllable. So I usually have to kick on the second syllable. So what I do is I do my normal 1, and then 2, sorry, I had it on the third syllable. 3 is when I usually put it in. Okay? And then I come down after that. So when you do it, what we said we have to do, go 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I have to do a little fancy footwork. You know, I'm going to have to do this kind of funny put down, back steps on. So that's what you're going to do on this dummy. Change, like that choke. Triangle step, like that choke. Like that choke. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Funny little footwork dance to do. So none of these are. I just one day got inspired to try the drills and I figured out what would most closely approximate the feeling of the regular lopsided. So when I do the normal lopsided with the fansel switch, I feel lop is over here and the punch is over here. And I feel contact on the outside of my hand. And then when I do Bong, I feel contact on the outside of my hand. So the normal cycle is to grab over there and feel contact on the outside of my hand. Then when I do the fansel switch, I collapse back, I grab, and I feel contact on the outside of my hand. And then it's on the other side. When I'm the defender, I go from Bong over to Bong. So in the fansel switch, if I'm the puncher, I end up the puncher. And if I'm the Bong cell, I end up the Bong cell. So which is important because when you do lopsided on the dummy, you have to do both people's part for them because there's nobody who, have you ever noticed in class, there'll be one person in the moving line that keeps fucking it up, but when he gets to you, he does it right. Because you're almost pulling him through it, and you're almost going like, and you're like, you almost like pull it. Well, when you do it with the dummy, you're really doing kind of like that, where you have to do everything, both people's part, and you have to imagine, what the dummy's doing to you to simulate it. So go over here, and I'll go on your shoulders fucked up. Go over here, and you stand, you be the dummy. Alright, and none of one.
I don't.
Okay. Now let's watch what happens and how close this does to reality. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch. 1, 2, 3,
see?
That's how well I know my lopsided. I can do both people's punch.
Yeah.
Did you see how it kind of, Chris didn't have to run away. Chris, you don't have to leave.
No, he wants to pick a shot.
I don't know, Jeanette.
Okay, you don't have to leave.
Oh,
Wait a minute. Yeah, get out of here.
I do like to leave.
No, get
7 o'clock I have to go.
Get your chair. Get your chair.
Yeah. Let me get on.
Now make it nice and puncher kicks. And it comes down in ball. So puncher kicks and comes down in ball. Puncher kicks and comes down in ball. So that means when you're on the dummy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Switch. 8, 2, 3, 4, 8. Switch. Normal switch. 7, 2, 3, 4, 7. Switch. So you're going to kick only when you punch when you switch. The bong, you just bong it over. When he is going to be the switcher, I have to bong, stop kick on the opposite foot of the bong. So when he punches and kicks, I have to do that. Now the difference between a kick and a stop kick is that with the kick, your knee goes forwards. With a stop kick, your knee goes backwards. It's not as crucial on the dummy because the dummy ain't kicking it. But when you practice a stop kick, the thing that'll make it work from a Choma position is that this knee never goes forward. It's like a backstop. It goes backwards. So your foot never moves forwards. Because if your foot moves forward, the other guy will always beat you and kick you in the ankle. So you need to get your knee up as high as you can to try to get the immovable knee line. You have to get the tip of your defense pyramid, which is your foot, between the tip of the attack pyramid and his kick, and the horizontal knee level center line, which is between your knees. So basically, in a nutshell, get your knee higher than his is the trick for a stop kick. And try not to move your foot in towards the kick, because when you do that, you shorten your ability, you're cutting your time short to meet him. And he's already launched. And if you go to like this, you will almost always get beaten to the kick. So instead, you kind of go, and you just try to get your foot where he was trying to kick before. Okay? So let's try it. Let me show you this. So that means it would be switch, 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 and then this would be long when you switch. So when you're the puncher, obviously it's still the same, you still have to do that. But when it's going to be from the long switch, you have to go. So when you switch, you have to go long kick. Right? Okay. Or long kick, always with the opposite foot.
I don't know if I got it. When we do it on the dummy, we're going to do both at the same time, with the lap and with the bong?
Yeah, just like
All right.
you are with the partner.
Yeah?
Well, you'll see the similarity when you see us do it and somebody do it on the dummy.
Okay.
Because when you kick and stop kick with a partner, you have to kick when it's the switch during the punch. But you have to kick when it's the switch during the bong too. And so therefore you have to do the same thing on the dummy.
Oh, okay.
It's basically you're mirroring exactly the action of the dummy.
And we are going, for example, like we are doing here, first with the lap, then with the bong, and then both.
Okay, here's the easiest way to do it. Francisco there, Carlos there, and me here. Starting position. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. See how me and Carlos both did the same thing? 9, 2, 3, freeze ring 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch. 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Switch. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. Get it?
Yes.
So it seems less complicated on the dummy because you're always kicking. You just have to imagine the dummy kicking you or stop kicking you. Okay? Okay. Good. The ball person is the grabbing, hitting person becomes ball. So in Chai Dai Jin, if I'm the bong guy, I end up as the bong guy. In China Jam, if I'm the punch guy, I end up as the punch guy. If I'm the punch guy, I end up as the punch guy. If I'm the Bong guy, I end up as the Bong guy, okay? So, there's going to be something that's a little bit slightly feel different on the dummy, which is your ganga will be really one syllable, whereas in the lop switch it's kind of a, flam, but you'll be one syllable, and it'll actually help you because you're really striving for one syllable, you just can't get it because you're not fast enough. But on the dummy it'll be one syllable. So you'll be like this, 1, 2, 3, 10, switch. Punch guy, just got down. If you're the punch guy, just got down. Come down. So it won't quite feel exact because when you do it with the other person, it's kind of like you kind of have to go. It's almost like a flam, but on this you just do it down. Right? If I'm the Bong guy, I hit kick on like this. Land with Bong. So I hit and kick during one syllable and land Bong with the other. So the Bong guy, hit kick, follow Bong. So when you're over here, when you're the Bong guy, from Bong, you grab, hit kick, land Bong. Grab, hit kick, land Bong. Grab, hit kick, land Bong. It almost feels kind of like a back bracing when you land with the Bong. Okay? You cycle, 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 and cycle. So when he does the thingy, I have to do my stop kick during my gun. It's super slow. I have to do my stop kick during the gun, fall punch. I have to do my stop kick during the gun, fall punch. So it's a little bit tricky. It's harder with the dummy in the sense that sometimes you forget, well, wait a minute, I have a Bong guy or a punch guy because there's no threat coming. When you're doing it with a partner, it's not easy to forget because there's a punch coming at you. Beginners sometimes punch instead of Bong or something, or the Bong, they should punch. That's the worst mistake because you're doing a block when there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
But you guys won't make that mistake. All right? So that means when we're doing the thing, as before, it would be kick, land, Bong. But when you're the punch guy, and you're doing the gun guy, you have to go down with a kick. And you just have to kind of do it all at once. So it feels a little bit different. Again, just like it feels different. Thing. So you have to do the gun guy, the kick. The kick has to be opposite foot of the gun. The kick has to be opposite foot of the gun. So I guess if you're the punch guy, and you have to go to the gun stop kick, you have to go like that.
And it turns on set.
Yeah, kind of, because you kind of have to, it feels weird, So if you got with the kick, but remember when you do the gun kick in reality, it's like, because when he goes like this, it's opposite of the gun. So we have to do the kick on the opposite side. It feels weird on the dummy. It doesn't feel as good on the dummy. You know when it'll be great? When you have the iron spider with the extra 3 legs. Because when you have it with the extra 2 legs, because then you'll be able to go gun kick.
Yeah.
And it'll feel right. That's right, yeah. Well, then you'll be able to go gun kick and you'll have a leg. Yeah. That's what right, you have to be gone like that. It'll feel less unnatural because you'll have a leg to kick.
Is there another arm here on this one? Would it actually line up like?
With the gun hitting the other arm. Yes.
It's actually almost exactly like that.
Not almost exactly. That's why I did it.
Okay.
So yeah, with the octopus, you even have the option of a more realistic gun sound.
The octopus or
The octopus has the extra arm, so the gun on the octopus is.
But the extra legs.
The octopus no.
That's the spider.
And it's punch on the inside here.
On the outside. Yeah, it's gonna feel weird on the dummy, you just have to do it. You just have to do it. You have the punch kick, which always feels weird. We don't like the punch kick. You know, we don't like the feeling of punch kick. Just remember punch kick on the same side.
Okay.
All right, let's try it. Okay, so we go. We're ready? Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. So you have the punch now. So the opponent grabs you, he hits, and you got the kick, and then land punch. Then cycle, cycle. So you have the punch. The opponent grabs and kicks, and you got kick, and then punch. Cycle once. Ready? Cycle once. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch. 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Switch. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch. 4, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 3, 2, 3. Switch. 2, 2. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch. You get it? It's not that easy, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's higher than precisely, it's a lot. I don't know.
Once you know how to learn how to do it, you can forget it. You know, just at least you know how to make the transition. Punch.
So natural. Punch.
I'm just thinking about my part right now, not Carlos's part. And I feel contact on the outside of my forearm. I have a pivot pull punch, and I feel contact on the outside of my punch. And then I have a pivot pull punch, and I feel contact on the inside of my punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And cycle, cycle. So when I do view, I feel contact on the outside of my view. I feel contact on the outside of my punch. I feel contact on the inside of my punch. So when I was creating this, I was like, well, how am I going to make something that feels as close as possible to the reality? So what I did was I said, okay, I'm in Bong, and I shoot view, and I need contact on the outside of my arm. So I pivot here. And then I have a pull punch, and I need to feel contact on the outside of my arm. So that means I have to punch with my arm hitting this side, and not this, because that wouldn't feel real. And then the last one, I need contact on the inside of my arm. So again, view, outside contact, pivot pull punch, outside contact, pivot pull punch, inside contact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I do it, I have to go. So it comes as close as possible to the reality. Alright, so you guys want to try it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Because now we have to do the other part.
Okay.
Now, when I'm doing the other part, I have to try to, again, approximate the reality the best I can. So if I'm the punch guy, I feel no pivot, view, outside contact. No pivot, woo, outside contact. Pivot, bong, outside contact. So once again, I feel no pivot, view, outside contact. No pivot, woo, outside contact. Pivot, bong, outside contact. So when I'm on the dummy, it's a little bit not realistic in only one sense. I have to retract my hand. Whereas normally the punch just shoots. But unfortunately, you can't just shoot and get what you want. So you have to, suspension of disbelief, you have to retract and view, outside contact. No pivot, woo, outside contact. Pivot, bong, outside contact. Right? So we have to retract, view, woo. So it's no pivot, view, no pivot, woo, pivot, bong. No pivot, view, no pivot, woo, pivot, bong. Right? So if I'm cycling, I know I'm the bong guy, I have to go pivot, pivot, turn. And if I'm the punch guy, I have to go no pivot, turn. Just like the reality. And it's almost as close as you can be to what it really feels like, except that you have to do that stupid retraction. If you don't, then you sacrifice. Now, I did consider this at one point, but I didn't like it. I considered this. So the view, like hitting the dummy's arm. I didn't really love it, so I went with that. But it could have just as easily gone the other way. I just didn't like it. So in the test, you know what I was.
Could you just repeat, because the camera was a little bit,
Repeat what?
the sequence, from one side to the other.
If I was the puncher, I would retract here, move, pivot, bong. If I was the puncher, I would retract here, move, bong. Or the second option was, don't retract view, hit the thing. Move, bong. Don't retract view, hit the thing. Move, bong. It's not bad, I don't know why I prefer the other way.
Okay.
And then the first switch you already got, right?
Yeah.
All right, we try it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pivot, pivot, pivot. 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, turn, turn, turn. 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't turn, turn. 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't turn, turn. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch, switch, switch. 5, 2, 1. Cycle, cycle. I would pivot view, outside contact. Full punch, opposite kick with outside contact. Fall with inside contact. So if I was going to do that on the machine, I would be here, and I would go pivot view, outside contact. Full punch kick, opposite hand and foot, and then full punch with outside or inside contact. Cycle, cycle, cycle. So I would pivot view, outside contact. Full punch kick with outside contact, opposite hand and foot, and then full punch with inside contact. Got it?
Okay.
Alright, so the 3 that just went are going to go again, and you're going to add the kick. Woo, opposite kick. So when I'm the woo guy, I opposite kick. Alright, we go again, right? So when I'm the woo guy, I opposite kick. So the other 3 guys up. So now you have to do the kick every time. You're going to do a kick on every one. So if you're this, and you have to go, if you're the punch guy, you have to go retract, move, fall back, cycle, cycle, cycle. You go retract, move, cycle, cycle, retract, heel, move, kick. Got it? But you still have to do the normal kick on the other one. So with the other hand, I turn, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel inside contact. Cycle, cycle, cycle. I grab, press, and then I turn, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel inside contact. So when I do it on the dummy, what I do is I go like this. I grab, press. I turn, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel inside contact. So once again, when I'm in Bong, I grab, press. I turn, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel outside contact. I turn, pull, punch, and I feel inside contact. So you could fuck this up. Because what you could end up doing is you could grab, press, and that would be wrong, because it wouldn't feel like real lopsided. So remember, it's grab, press, inside contact, inside contact. Oh, I say inside.
Yeah, outside.
Yeah. So it's almost like maybe it's easier if I say it this way. Grab, press, inside, outside. Grab, press, inside, outside. But inside really gives you outside contact. I'm just trying to tell you what I'm trying to make happen. Okay? Now, when I'm the defensive in the dumb switch, which sounds like poor hygiene in a dumb switch. But when I get pressed, for 1 second I get pressed. So I get pressed, I fock with outside contact, I rule with outside contact, and I ball with outside contact. Cycle, cycle, cycle. I get pressed. I fox out with outside contact, I rule with outside contact, and I turn ball with outside contact. So on the dummy, I go like this. I get pressed, outside with self. So I get pressed, outside with self. I get pressed and I don't turn. I fox out and I don't turn. I rule out and I don't turn. I only turn with the ball, just like reality.
You press is always the same one.
Yeah, this arm is the one that he's doing ball and he grabs, presses me.
Yeah.
And then I fox out, I rule, and then I ball, just like I would. So, go through lopsided together. Alright? So, now, cycle, 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 cycle. So I'm in ball. So I watch him and me at the same time. Grab, press, outside contact, outside contact, inside contact. Cycle, cycle, cycle. Grab, press, outside contact, outside contact, inside contact. Cycle, cycle. Get pressed, outside contact, outside contact, outside contact ball. Cycle, cycle, cycle. Get pressed, outside contact, outside contact. See? It's almost exactly what it feels like to do lopsided with a partner. But you have to pay attention and go, oh wait, which contact do I want? Cycle. For Bong, I do the same move I always do, but I hit the other arm than I usually hit. And then I feel outside contact on my punch. Outside contact on my punch. Inside contact on my punch. So once again, I slap and I feel outside contact, inside contact. So when I do it on the dummy, instead of slapping this way that I normally slap with my punch, or normally grab, what I do instead is I go, so I feel that I'm doing pop instead of knock. It's the same punch that I usually do, but this time instead of feeling the inside contact, I'm going to feel outside contact. And then what do? When I pull punch is I feel outside contact and then inside contact, and I have to switch sides. I'm still on the same side. So here I go outside contact, inside. Outside, inside. Get it? Now when I'm the defensive guy, and he does it to me, I have to pivot view outside. No pivot move, pivot Bong. So again, when he's the guy, I go view, no pivot move, Bong. So I have to pivot view, move, and Bong. So that means if I'm the punch guy, I have to pivot move, so I pivot view. I did it right, I said it. If I'm the punch guy, I have to pivot view, no pivot move, and don't switch sides. So I'm the punch guy, I pivot, pivot, pivot. Pivot, pivot, pivot. So it's pretty easy. 3 guys. In the movies, when the girls used to kiss the boys in the movies, they always used to go like this.
Yeah.
And they would kiss. So I always say Doris Day was the one that was famous for that. So you put your foot up like Doris Day, and then kick. And the same as always, your foot is 45. And then you come up, come down, jut. I kick this thing away, jut, and then around again. Jut, switch, jut, jut. Switch, jut, jut. This dummy's not really good for it because you can get your foot on it. But that's all you have to do. So you have to Doris Day it, kick, come around, your knee goes past the arm, and then down to jut. Just at the beginning. You jut down and kick the leg. When you do this, you could call that more of an iron palm strike. So you could say Jing Jam to the palm. You could say it's with gum. You could say it's with Hao Chen Jin, depending on the application. You could say it's with Pao Sao. I would accept it if you used it, or Gock as a non-Gock. Yeah. Anything where your palm hits would be number 1. Number 2 is the iron palm time strike. It could be the strike, but it could also be just the time saw that hits hard.
Or a takeover.
A takeover could be one of these. When you whack with this, could be the time strike. It could be a hand saw, which hits like that. It could be one of these. Boom! That's what you should do. It could be anything that uses the back of your hand as an iron palm strike. It could even, I think I might even take it if I said Bong lock. That or the block opens. Maybe that's it.
For example, I do a rock front, and you do now the cross trap.
We come. This is the cross.
Stupid trap, you mean?
Yes, I mean the stupid trap. To say stupid trap.
Oh, super trap.
Yeah, but you can do this several times.
That would make you want to let go. So I wouldn't do that. So it makes you want to let go. So I don't think I understand like that, but I don't know, maybe you could if the guy's really stupid. That's the really stupid.
Really
Because when you
stupid
twist your
trap.
hand like that, makes you want to let go.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the hand. Okay? Chop. The chop, I would take that for fun song.
Yes.
I would take it for woo. I would take it for chum song. Possibly gang sa, depending if you were using gang sa as an attack.
Bong will break.
You saw the attack also,
Not so
no?
much that.
It's an attack you saw.
So as an attack, I would use it. I would take it. Even a take overall, that's not so much of a. I would say when you get hyperextended with where you do something wrong or your opponent moves and you're over here, and suddenly, you know.
And jumps on the shot.
Yeah, jump saw. Even jump saw as a block if you're really
Yeah,
being
block.
aggressive with it.
Okay.
So that would be that. So palm, backhand, chop, heel. The heel of the hand, more so than the normal Jing Jian when you're really emphasizing the heel of the hand. For example, when they pick you up and you have to hit like this,
Oh.
you know, or one of these. You know how you do this one?
Yes.
Da.
Yeah, Gock Jing break would be a good example of it.
Hang up,
Which one?
hang. When
Hang
we,
up? If you, depends on...
when we do it like
depends
this.
which part of the hand's being used, but yes. If you're hitting...
Yeah, when we hit and the guy hits us.
Deep saw's a good example. Yes. You got it?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the time when the heel of the hand is more emphasized.
So it's normal techniques.
I want to see that you're putting some thought into, the exact part of the hand that's being used.
Yeah.
Fingers, okay, throat grab,
Yeah.
flesh grab,
Eugene.
Both grab. Both grab.
view UG if you're using it as a UG, face grab,
Yeah.
Any flash grab.
any flesh grab, so Lysol,
Mm-hmm.
nerve shock, even UG lopsided that's using this.
Yeah.
Fingers, knuckles, ginger fist, nerve shock.
Yeah. Okay, it's understand. But
There is a difference.
You accept in that dance as a hit, but we are making the numbers.
Yeah, it could be, although we're really hitting this part.
yeah.
So that goes a little bit more with the tonic portion of it. But I like with ginger, it's more like this part of the hand. So I
Yeah.
like the adductor.
Yeah, that extracts.
Yeah, or even I'll take the ones where the punch comes in instead of a pop. Those kind of things. You could do that. Fingers, knuckles, Phoenix. We already know what you need for that. I'll accept the saw.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Or even the Phoenix punches. Then, sorry? Yeah, of course. Another paragraph of that. So undercut would be leakage attack.
Leakage.
Chop into the leg. Really anything that's hitting like that angle down. So we go over, chip side chop, couldn't throw.
Yeah.
Anything is like that. Okay. If you're using the downward angle. Good. So, hammer fist. It's pretty easy. An elbow. Any elbow that hits with this part. So it would be Saujan, Chunjan,
Chunjan.
Songjan.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be high or high. It wouldn't be hay either. So that should be pretty good. And then you're going to have to explain to me how to do the iron palm sequence. And you're going to have to remember, you're going to talk to me about the medicine and what it does, why we use it, and then putting it on before I hit, do my sequence and put it on after I hit. It's such an important part of iron palm. If you don't put medicine, your hands get all fucked up. My hands are only fucked up because of Mario. But other than that, my hand don't shake or nothing.
Yeah.
I've been hitting really hard for almost all my life. And my hand doesn't shake for nothing. Pretty steady. Because why? I always put medicine before I hit. Protect yourself. Going for self-defense, not just against the bully, against old age, illness, and injury.
Yeah.
Always do things that are good for you. Don't do shit that's bad for you. Even though you might sell yourself to the devil, sell your soul. You might be really good when you're young. When you get old, you'll be all fucked up. And nobody's going to pay to bring you to Portugal or bring you anywhere else, another country. They're not going to bring you to teach them if you're like, yeah, show you. Here's your turn, son, here.
Now if you put that nice suit, like the grandmaster. Okay.
First way you have to do for your 5-stop block. There's 2 ways to do it. Here's the first way. 1, 2, 3. Inside down. the first way to do it. The second way to do it is the last two are on the same arm, like this. So here's my elbow. And we know the last one to hit is the first one to block. Triangle step. Block. Triangle. Triangle. And when you hit, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Whole hand. You need to do it or no?
That's nervous.
So we do the triangle step, tap foot. So it's going to be here. Foot down, lock front. Foot down, lock front. 2, 1. 2, 4. And then we're going to go lock, front, and retrap. The last one to hit is the first one to block. Triangle step, punch, lock, hit. Triangle, lock, hit. Triangle, 2, switch, 2, switch. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Lock, lock, hit. So you have to pop and punch with the front hand. And it's kind of like a kimchi cream. And then lock, hit.
So you can do a white back here.
Right, so I don't. Back,